Hello, crocheter and knitters alike. Let's take a look at this super fun, very texturized, heart-shaped like pattern that I have here for you guys today. This one uses a little bit of a thicker yarn, and I made a little swatch here on a thinner yarn. So you can see that it looks very different depending on the yarn that you use. I can totally see this maybe as some kind of a market or grocery bag, I think would be really fun, or a pillow or a blanket. You let me know what you're going to do with it, but I'm gonna dive right into the tutorial today. For the purpose of the tutorial, I am going to be using lace or sports weight yarns on the thinner side and a 3mm hook. And to get started with our project, go ahead and do your slip knot. Here we go. In regards to how many stitches you need, you want to cast on in multiple of 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 4. If you wanted to make this bigger, so this is the 4 and the 4, and the pattern in the middle is 5. So if you want to make it wider, then you just add in increments of 5, and then the two sides on the edges is 4 and 4. Okay. So I'm going to cast on 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one of my edges. Then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's one repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's another repeat. And then I do an edge 2, 3, 4. So I did 4 and 4, and then 2 5s in the middle. And then if you want to make it bigger, just do it in increments of 5. To get started on row number 1, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet. That was my first single crochet. I always like to use a stitch marker to make sure I know where the end is, or the beginning. So that's my first single crochet. And for our setup row, all you're going to do is single crochet all the way until the end. So I always count my stitches just to make sure I got the correct number. So at the end of row number 1, when you count your stitches, in my situation, you should have 18 stitches. So same amount of stitches that you have casted on. And if you forgot the chain 1 at the beginning, then you're going to be short 1. So it's always good to check the number of stitches you have. Okay, first row, easy peasy, single crochet all your way around. To get started on row number 2, I'm going to do a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is your first stitch right here. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're gonna skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th stitch you're going to do your first puff stitch. So we're going to do yarn over, pull up a loop, that's 1, yarn over, pull up a loop, that's 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, that's 3, yarn over, pull up a loop, that's 4. So we're doing puff stitch with 4 yarn overs and 4 loops today. Then what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, pull through all of the loops like that, and then you're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're doing another puff stitch into the same stitch that you just did. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, that's 2, yarn over, that's 3, yarn over, that's 4. I got all my loops on my hook. I yarn over, I pull through all of the loops, and I chain 1. Okay, so that's your first heart-shaped puff. So here at the beginning we skip 3. For the next one we're gonna skip 4. So we're gonna do a yarn over, we're gonna skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the 5th stitch we're gonna do a puff stitch. So that was my first loop, yarn over, 2nd loop, yarn over, 3rd loop, yarn over, 4th loop, and then what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, pull through all of the loops, and you're going to chain 5, and into the same stitch you're going to put another puff stitch. Okay, so yarn over, 1, 2, 3, and 4 loops, yarn over, pull through all of the loops, and since this is our 2nd puff stitch we're going to chain 1. Okay, and that's your repeat for row number 2, or in this case pattern row number 1. So skip 4, puff stitch, chain 5, puff stitch, chain 1. Let's do that together one more time. So get ready for your puff stitch. We're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the 5th stitch we're going to put our puff stitch. Now you pull through all the loops, and after the first puff stitch you're going to do a chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to do another puff stitch into the same stitch. Pull through all the loops and chain 1 after the 2nd puff stitch. So if you want to make your pattern wider, right, so that's why you want to add on in increments of 5 stitches, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, etc. So here at the end we're gonna yarn over, we're gonna skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the last stitch, which in this case is marked by my stitch marker. That was our first stitch. Into this last stitch we're going to do a double crochet, and that's your first pattern row, and it should look something like this. Okay, let's get started on row number 2. So actually row number 3, we're gonna chain 1, we're gonna turn our work, and right here is where I'm gonna put my single crochet. Okay, so now you see this chain 5 you have right here, that's holding together your 2 puff stitch. There you're gonna put 5 single crochets. So put your needle through the gap, pull up a loop, and that was 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're doing 5 single crochets, and then we're going to jump to the next loop here, and we're going to put another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's really all you're doing in this specific row. So I have one more chain 5 over here, so I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at the end of this specific row I'm going to single crochet into the top of this chain on the outside right now. So and that was row number 3, and your work should look something like this. Row number 4, you're starting out with a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You turn your work. Now what you're going to do is you're going to do a puff stitch into the middle of these 5 single crochets you did on these arches. So we don't count this because we just put a single crochet there. So we do 1, 2, into the 3rd single crochet we'll do a puff stitch. So yarn over, and then you pull through all of the loops, and then you chain 5, 3, 4, 5, and into the same stitch you're going to do another puff stitch, and chain 1, and that's your pattern repeat for row number 4. So you're going to do a puff stitch right in the middle on top of the arch. So you have 5 single crochets, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to go into the 3rd one, 1, 2, 3, and that's where you do your puff stitch. That was my first puff stitch. Pull through all the loops, chain 5, and into the same stitch we'll do our 2nd puff stitch, yarn over, pull through all your loops, and chain 1. Okay, let's do that one more time together. So do your puff stitch into the 3rd single crochet, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through all of the loops, then chain 5, and into the same stitch you're going to do another puff stitch, pull through all the loops, and chain 1. And then here at your first stitch here, which I had marked, you're going to put a double crochet. So yarn over and double crochet. And that's what your work should look like. So to continue this pattern, you're going to repeat row 3 and 4. So this is row 3, this is row 4. So you're going to continue that to repeat the pattern. And that is as simple as that. So as much texture as it looks like, it's actually pretty easy, I think. You let me know if you would consider this beginner friendly or not, if you appreciate my tutorial. I would love to hear from you guys, and a subscription would mean the world to me. See you guys next time.